before the players go into an Armageddon, in case of a tie, we are going to have two blitz games with a 5 minutes and 3 seconds time control. Let's also take a look at our current standings as the race for the semifinal heats up. Let's get that on the screen. So Magnus Carlsen leading the pack at 17 points. No surprises there. Magnus has been on fire. Jan also showing some class speed chess and just a format I think he thrives in at 16 points. And then there's a big gap between him and third place, Vladimir Kramnik with 12 points and Peter Anish at 11. And again, as we see in the standings, the top 5 and the bottom 5, there's quite a gap there. The aim of the whole event is, of course, currently to qualify for the semifinals. And the good news for Team Millennials is that the two guys on top, Magnus and Jan, I think for all practical reasons are already through. And the good news for Team Legends is that Vlad, Peter have a big shot at qualifying. And of course, Anish is going to give it all to make it as well. We've seen some brilliant chess from all these players, but it's now that it's do or die, because it's going to be goodbye to 6 of these players once the qualifier event is over. They have to rake up as many points as they can to make it to the semis. Let's not forget, the Magnus Carlsen Chess Tour final will consist of 4 players. Each winner of the preceding events qualifies directly, but because Magnus has won more than one event, we are going to have players who scored maximum number of points throughout the event. Everybody following us on Twitch and YouTube, don't forget, all information, everything that you need to know about the event is available on our website, chess24.com. There's fantasy chess to be entered. There are banter blitz going on. There are Q&As that we have. All of that action that you can be a part of by going premium. There's a fantastic deal on with a 40% off throughout the event. Use the code Chess Legends, go premium, get with all the chess action. What else? The other things that have, of course, been a huge part of this event, besides the legend, besides the Chessable semi-finalist qualifying, you guys have been amazing interacting with us using the hashtag Chess Legends on Twitter. And let's bring up some of the conversations that got us interested. Okay, so the first one is by Juga. Juga is just an all-out phenomenal person, but she's also an extremely talented singer and a chess player. With a stunning voice, and she says it's Chess Legends Monday. Looking forward to Gelfand versus Anand, Ivanchuk versus Kramnik, Liren versus Ding, amongst other matches. I invite you to watch my 5th chess song, Speaking Up for Equal. Yes. Okay. So firstly, big matchups today. Gelfand versus Anand, a rematch of the 2012 World Championship. Ivanchuk versus Kramnik, a classic rivalry that we all can't wait to watch. Liren versus Ding, versus Giri. Liren versus Ding, wow. Okay, Liren versus Giri is, of course, going to be very exciting as well. Giri is pretty much up there, so he needs a big win. And we know Ding Liren has been out of form, so Giri is going to be looking at striking in this match. But the most important part of this tweet is, in fact, Juga's new, absolutely beautiful, stunning song that she's come out with. And we've heard a lot of amazing melodies from her, and she's got this thrilling voice and everything, but this song is really special. I heard it for the first time today, and I think one of the most amazing things about this song is that it really brings out how chess transcends so many boundaries, gender boundaries, cultural boundaries, and it sort of brings everyone together. In fact, I think we're going to play a small clip, a small teaser of this song. Definitely check out the entire song on YouTube, but let's have that up if we can. Wow. An immortal game indeed. And I think immortal in more ways than one. It's of course the beauty of it, but also as Juga points out in this song that it transcends so many boundaries. And I think the other thing that we really need to appreciate about the sport is that how in these extremely difficult times, it's given us it's been this really positive tool to bring everybody together and just okay, I'm getting very emotional, but just bring this amazing community of chess players as well as non-chess players into the game. Let's move on to our next tweet, and that is of course by a legend himself, Anish Giri, giving us a summary of his match yesterday against Peter. He says great match, and it really was. I think Peter, after losing game 2 in that night pawn ending, was amazing technique by Anish, but Peter was definitely very disappointed with that. Came back and avenged himself with a brilliant game 3, which Anish himself praised a lot. And then Anish in game 4 proving that against these guys, if you mess up in the opening, there's really no coming back from that. But Anish has more to say. He says, I think Levon is still hurt. They didn't mention his name when discussing biggest trolls amongst the chess legends the other day on the Chess 24 stream. Good to have you back, Lev. Yes, of course, always good to have Lev with us, whether it's on Twitter or over the chessboard. And Anish, you have a very valid point that I think the big debate about who is the troll maestro amongst these legends is really something we need to address. We we'll probably have more on that once the boys join us. Let's move on to our next tweet. Anish again, decent stream, but as I had already mentioned, lacked a few things. Do follow my YouTube channel instead, which has got it all. In recent times, Anish Giri has become a YouTube sensation, and definitely check out his YouTube content. Anish had some great advice for us. We'll definitely be looking at it, Anish, and still struggling a little bit with those terms. I am not sure if any of us have heard of what a boomer really is. Still struggling with that, but let's see what YouTube chat has to say about that. Perhaps we can have, and of course, it has to be Anish OP in the YouTube chat as expected. Okay, love it. Let's go for Anish OP in YouTube. Tanya trying hard not to laugh at Giri's tweets. He's just so entertaining. What can I say? All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, Andros Stott says, am I the only one who would love to see a ladies' version of the chess legends? Andros, absolutely not. I mean, I think count me in for this, but count a lot of people in for this. I think this is just a brilliant idea. Chess 24 team, take notice of this, make it happen. I think it's going to be fantastic. And you know what? I actually want to see what do you guys think? What does chat think about this? So let's head over to Chess 24's chat and let's do a yay or nay on this. So guys, yay or nay for a all ladies chess legends. The good news about that would be that Magnus would not be able to play, and finally we might have a winner besides Magnus. Of course, there are other things as well. But let's see what you guys have to say about this. Yay or nay? Going no, never read you. We've got a few yays coming in. Hell yeah, I like that. I like it. Andras, you're not alone on this at all. Definitely with you on this one. Okay, let's go on to the next tweet. On chess opening preparation, to analyze is easy. The difficult part is to remember. This was, of course, Alexander Grischuk and his words of wisdom. I think it's really interesting and fascinating what he said. But you know what my opinion on this is? I think it's at their level, at the super grandmaster level, where preparation is so deep and there are so many variations that memorization becomes a really big problem, because for those guys, working on chess and working hard on chess is not an issue. That's what they've been doing, and that's why they are where they are. But it's really remembering all these lines and all these deep computer engine lines that's more of a challenge. But I do feel that for the rest of us, for the mere mortals like myself, I think actually to work on chess and to train on chess is the real big deal. And I think that itself, I think it was Gary Kasparov who said that hard work is a talent. And I would agree with that. I think for most of us, the actual training part is a bigger challenge. I think memory just is like level 2 of that. Rafal, but it was a very fascinating insight by Sasha, just like all his insights. Let's move on. Grandmaster Dennis says, it's a pleasure to see Kramnik going for the wildest variations possible in chess. And Dennis, completely agree with you. And I think that we've been actually seeing Vlad play in that style, not just here, but actually over the last few years when he was playing before the 2019 Vaikanze as well. I think the last 4 or 5 years, we've always seen more fighting and sort of combative style play from Kramnik, which was not sort of Kramnik's, I don't know, the younger Kramnik's forte, so to say. Just my opinion on this. And I think in this format, you're absolutely right, Dennis, that he is doing that a lot more, because like he said himself, that going into an Armageddon is basically doom for him. So whatever needs to happen in the rapid portion. And I wonder if that's the reason why these players, these legends, are taking more risks. Let's see what else we got. Kana coming in with the engine bar is the most misleading thing you will ever see. I think there are lots of like mixed feelings about the engine bar on the analysis board. I think it's helpful for a lot of people to just get an overall evaluation of what the position is, but completely agree that in complex positions, because traditionally engines are materialistic, a bit of a gold diggers, so to say. So they kind of fall a lot for material imbalances, going for the side with more material without seeing the initiative. And I think in positions like that, we need Yan and we need Rustam to break it down for us. Actually, in every position, we need Yan and Rustam, because the chess that's been played here would definitely go above our head otherwise. All right, what else we got? More stuff coming in. We've got a couple more minutes before the round starts. So let's take a look at what Sumendra is saying. And Sumendra says, love to see the passion of Ivanchuk at the age of 51. This expression while losing the game after the blunder. Yes, rook f5, knight d6. And the point was that queen d6 runs into queen c8 check. And that would be game over. With that photograph of just expressing the pain that chess is capable of causing. And I think chess players can vouch for this. It's a brutal game. And when you're playing, it's not just a game. It hurts. And I think this photograph of Vasily, thank you for sending that in, Samendra. It's proof of just how much chess can hurt sometimes. All right. Do we have, and then Venu's writing in, I want to see some blood today. Prefer world champions if possible. Wow, I love it. Okay. Hashtag need more popcorn. Hashtag I love this summer. Chess is making this summer more bearable. I completely agree with that. The world champion has, of course, been on a roll. And today he's up against Peter Swidler. And Peter really needs to pull it off, because it's a race for those 4 spots. And today's pairings, today's matchups, today's results are going to have big weightage on what happens and who qualifies. I think the world champion's already in. A lot of us want to see Peter in. I don't know. It's always difficult to predict and to say that, Peter will be able to do it, because Magnus has been in form. But I feel you. I feel you, Venus. I know what you mean. In any case, get the popcorn in. We've got 5 minutes to lift off, and And just in time, because I do see Jan and Rustam have joined us as well. Very important content. This was the Q&A that we had with Anish yesterday. Again, just a reminder to all our viewers that we are going to be running Q&As with all the players of the event, the legends, as well as the millennial legends. And you can be a part of it. You can come and ask your questions, go premium to be able to challenge them in the banter blitz, as well as ask your questions in the Q&A. Let's see what this was about. If we can just quickly play that clip. I'm not okay, I'm loving this next one. I'm going to bring that up, and it's by Tatev Abrahamian. You know Tatev, right, Anish?
I do, yeah.
So Tatev wants to know, Anish, can you name all the Kardashians?
Oh, I heard that. I'm an active Instagram user, so yes, I cannot name all of them, but
let's try. Let's go.
I know. Okay, the most famous is Kim Kardashian, I think. Then you have also
10 seconds.
Kendall or something like this. Chloe, I think you have.
Correct.
I cannot name all, but I mean, I don't know what they do or who they are, but I just know these names. Yeah, but there were more. I saw on my Instagram, there were more. But these are the famous ones. I think this Kendall, Chloe, and Kim are the most famous ones.
That was just a teaser of what the Q&A was about. You can still catch it on chess24.com, on YouTube, on Twitch for more information about how much knowledge Anish really has about the Kardashians. One of his fun insights was about who to follow on Instagram. And he said Sagar Shah and Ariana Grande. Now, the Sagar part, I totally get. The Ariana part is, of course, very debatable and very subjective. And I think this is the best segue to throw it to our analysts and chess experts, Jan and Rustam. What is your opinion on Ariana being the inspiration on Instagram?
I can't do it, Tanya. I'm team Pete Davidson, and she broke my boy Pete's heart. And she put out some nasty rumor about the size of Pete's body parts. And ever since, I'm team Pete Davidson. And I've turned on Ariana Grande. I'm not going to follow her on Instagram. That's where I stand.
Oh, wow. And I'm the hater, right?
This escalated very quickly today. Hi, everybody. I'm Jan Gustafsson. I'm delighted to be here to talk chess with you all.
Yeah, I'm Rustam. For the record, Ariana Grande is one of the most talented people of our generation, or of the new generation. She is adorable. And also, I was wondering what these contents were that Tatev referred to. Like very important content. I was like thinking maybe some in-depth analysis, but no, those were Kardashians, right? Gotta be Kardashians.
I'm always here for more Kardashian talk, but as you know, it's a very polarizing topic. What people want to hear about is Boris Gelfand versus Vishy Anand. Tanya, who you got? Is Vishy gonna win one today?
Let's have the matchups up on the screen if we can and go through that, Jan. So we've got Vishy against Boris. This is a replay of the 2012 World Championship match. And I think very, very exciting to watch. Also, the Indian fans really waiting for that big win by Anand, who's been having a nightmare of an event so far. I am rooting for Vishy, but I also want Boris to qualify for the semis. So, yeah. I don't, it's kind of hard for me to pick. What about Vlad up against Vasil? That's always an exciting rivalry to watch, no?
Historically, I always thought Kramnik is doing well against Ivanchuk. I'm not sure if that's backed up by the numbers, but I always felt like Kramnik was a tough opponent for Ivanchuk. I'm not sure if that dynamic has changed. I believe in Kramnik today.
I believe you're right. Yeah, Kramnik has a good score. Yeah.
And what about Peter against Magnus? We had a tweet earlier with Venue saying that she would love to see some world champions blood on the board today. And also an update for all of you about the FPL. It was a horrendous day for the world champion. He's been doing great on the chessboard, but not as much on in his Premier League. A very disappointing day. I think he was his strategy was to go all in, so he made some risky decisions and which didn't pay off, so he kind of really fell backward. Let's see if he brings that anger on the board today. We do have liftoff, so over to Jan and to Rustam. As Jürgen says, Team Gustam is on. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you, Tanya. Let's see what's gonna happen today. Do you think Peter has a chance against Magnus?
Well, I think Magnus will be angry today, right? After his below par fantasy football performance. But that is a double-edged thing, yeah? Angry Magnus will either be very strong or maybe weaker than usual. Yeah, very difficult to say. So yeah, maybe if there is a chance, maybe it is today.
Yeah. I would like to add that there's also a chance he will be equally strong.
That is also a possibility. I think we covered all the possibilities, right?
There we see Boris Gelfand and Vichy. I've been impressed with Boris, I have to say. He's, you know.
I mean, he seems his usual self, right?
Exactly. Just bring this usual brand of serious work, classical play, going for the most critical lines. And yeah, I like seeing it.
I think it was a bit unfortunate yesterday that he lost this match against Kramnik. I think like this blundering this rook in game 3 was really unnecessary. He was wide in this position. I think he was very close to winning this match. And yeah, and like Vichy, I mean, I hope there is one day where he'll finish the job, right? That one day he will just play the good game and will finish the match in normal time, hopefully. I think we have all been waiting for this. So yeah, I think it's a big day, yeah, like most other days.
All right, we have liftoff in some of the games, so maybe let's go there. First in Ding versus Geary, we have a very mainstream classical Catalan. No surprises.
I mean, Ding, I think both these players, they were extremely prolific here, finding new ideas in lines where you would think there are no more new ideas. I think Ding was experimenting with some setups, which included B3 here, like certain like double fianchetto type of positions. Also, of course, playing the classical with castles and queen C2. So like curious to see, but like he's thinking, which means maybe the main line was not what he expected. As I think yesterday Anish was giving bishop b4 check and not bishop e7.
So Anish and the candidates, he started doing these DC bishop, knight f3, bishop b4 check lines, no?
Yeah, and bishop d2 a5, right?
I know he played without DC. I think that was the thing. He played some weird thing, no? Bishop d2. Sorry, my memory is bad. There was some stuff.
No,
no, this can't be it.
This doesn't look right.
No, I agree.
I think we'll waste most of our time trying to remember.
Yeah.
No, I think we should have.
Sorry, Anish. Moving on. Svidla Carlsen.
Oh, wow.
What is this move?
It's knight f6.
I understand, but it's rare, no?
It's rare. It's not pleasing to the eye.
No. c4, e5, that much we know. g3, knight f6, bishop g2. Pawn to d5 here. Some experts only like playing this move pawn to d5 when white has already committed to a knight on f3 or in order to reach the system, for example. Karana likes to play where you don't have to retreat after knight c3, where you can play bishop c5. But Magnus doesn't seem to mind. He allows this, after which the main move is knight b6. But he goes knight f6, which I've never seen.
Yeah. It's, I think, one of those moments where you say this move is either made by a patzer or a world champion, right? This is kind of a customary thing to say. I mean, I guess there is a point to knight f6. Come to think about it, this knight is not often active on b6 where it ends up usually, right? So maybe there is some point to it.
Must be. I'd be wondering if white can ask like direct questions, like queen to b3 to target this pawn. Maybe c6.
Maybe c6, yeah. Very often I don't want to have my knight on c6. It's in the way.
Because this often is unpleasant. Oh yeah, knight f6, very rare move. I think I've seen knight e7 here once, trying to get like knight c6, g6. This one, somehow.
He did play queen b3, right?
There you go.
Oh my God, I looked like when you mentioned queen b3, to be honest, I thought what an odd move to come
Did you
up
give
with
me a
here.
condescending look?
No, I was
Oh.
like, okay, he's attacking my pawn. Yeah, let's see.
I spend a lot of time sitting next to P. He sees a pawn, he'll attack that pawn.
P-City, PDD.
You could also play some clumsy move like knight d7, but I'm not sure we want to. My point being you can't take because of the pin.
Well, I can argue that maybe bishop c8, rook b3, bishop d7 is still kind of not over.
Wow.
We saw so many queen sacks in this tournament. So this is my own modest contribution to the theme.
Didn't happen. Magnus, he's saying, you know what? You want to give me that fianchetto bishop of yours and cripple my pawns? Do it. And Svidler does.
I have this weird feeling that once again, this is some sort of modern theory that we might be aware of normally, but we're not.
But we are leading theory experts and we don't know anything.
But not in this obscure field, yeah? I have a feeling that obscure fields might be dominated by some other experts. Some of them play in this tournament.
Could be. Yeah, we'll see where this goes. Very double-edged now. Black has these long-term weaknesses. He does have the two bishops, and he could argue the white king is weak. I think conventional thinking is this trade-off favors white. His king is not that weak.
I don't know. I mean, like when we started analyzing similar positions with Lila just very often abandons this pawn on c6, lets you take it, and just slowly starts some attack on the king side. And yeah, like changes our perspective of these positions, I think, quite a bit. Also, these two gentlemen, they made fun of me basically by playing queen b3. And just when I was explaining that you shouldn't, put your knight on c6, we played knight c6. Like it's a tough day in the office, right?
Maybe it's all part of a bigger conspiracy to mock you early on.
I know, right? I know.
Yeah, so this is going to be interesting at the very least. That much we know. Well, some other positions are more small ball.
Well, small ball or not, but this bishop is hanging on c5. I would not be quick to abandon this bishop in this line. Or in fact, knight a5, white can probably pick up the other bishop.
Wow.
I mean,
it's a free lunch. Takes. He's going to argue he's active enough.
Yeah, probably, because he's also kind of threatening b4 to kick the knight. So I would normally play f3 to set up your favorite pawn structure, right, with e4.
Yes.
But then b4 kicks me back, unfortunately. But then maybe I relocate, play knight d1, and play knight f2 and get my favorite Zemish knight.
Yeah.
You'll play a5, bishop a6.
All of this still, yeah.
Yeah, no, I have a feeling that Kramnik knows what he's doing, and he will show us.
Kramnik, by the way, we should mention he's changed his fourth move. No, he's played knight bd7 throughout this tournament, a line with no name. But now he's gone back to the semitarash, named after famous German, I think doctor, chess player, chess theoretician, Siegbert Tarrasch.
Well, what was he a doctor of?
Medicine.
Like a real medicine, yeah? Wow.
I think, and usually I get it wrong when I talk about chess history, so please check this. But I think he once canceled a world championship match against Steinitz because he had to attend to his medical practice.
Interesting, yeah. I don't have this kind of knowledge. But speaking, like returning to semitarash and knight bd7, I have a feeling that the line that Kramnik was relying upon was like basically refuted yesterday by Gelfand.
Yeah, Boris put some pressure.
Boris, yeah, won basically without much effort.
This stuff, yeah.
And yeah, I guess Kramnik decided not to get deeper into the theoretical discussion there. I mean, why should he, And just play something else.
The semi-Tarash it is. I'm not sure why it's called semi-Tarash. Actually, I probably do know, because the full Tarash is this, where you have the drawback that you have to accept and potentially isolate a pawn on d5, this pawn. Well, the semi-Tarash, you do not have to live with this pawn, but you can recapture with a knight.
I mean, the real Tarash, like not the semi, but the full Tarash, is returning back into some sort of fashion, right? Like at some point, it just completely disappeared from practice.
Dubov did some stuff.
And then Dubov started playing it a lot, and also the world champion himself, albeit mainly like in rapid games, he started playing this. So it is kind of a thing, right?
This is the Dubov line, and the full Tarash. I also have a feeling the real Tarash, like Dr. Siegbert Tarash, he would never play the semi-Tarash, no? He was very much about that isolated pawn.
Yeah, I personally always felt that, e4, knight e3, bc, that those positions cannot possibly be equal. I mean, maybe you can equalize them, but equal they are not.
Yeah.
Like
it's one of these modern things, no? Everyone accepts white is better, but they say move by move. I go bishop b4, I castle, knight d7, b6, and then I will analyze every position, and I will survive. No, that's the approach.
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you do, that's what you do, right?
That's what Kramnik used to do, but no more.
I mean, at some point, Kramnik also was losing a lot of games here. Yeah, he would analyze, and yet some people like Aronia and Mamedyarov put pressure on him.
Yeah, it's true. I don't think his score was very good. He had the same problem a bit with his Petrov, with all these lines where he tried to clean it up. Is that usually he would draw, but sometimes he would lose, and he would barely win games. So I don't think overall it worked.
Now, sometimes this approach, by taking like a shady position and trying to really make it work to draw, actually hits your chess ability a bit. It's a bit, there is something a bit rotten in this approach. Like also when Vichy was playing this bad endgame in the Slav defense, trying to draw this, like at some point it's not right. Yeah, I mean, chess is full of good openings. You don't have to go for a bad position and try to analyze it. It's just wrong.
Yeah. Could be. Also psychologically, it's very tricky because you feel so dependent on your analysis because of course, so it's tricky. So if they do some other move, then
it's not
double-edged sword.
But also today is such a D4 day, right?
Let's have a look around.
Like Ivanchuk played D4, Ding Liren played D4. I think Leko played D4.
Oh, this is more semi-Tarash?
Yeah.
Also, Leko, isn't he a big semi-Tarash exponent himself?
Yeah, with both colors, yeah.
He's also no-nonsense, yeah? Just main line of main lines, bishop c4, not messing around. No, rook c1, bishop d3, whatnot. So classical, Peter. Bishop b3, Ah, but he plays his Magnus idea, yeah? Or no, hang on. Is h6 the main move here? My memory is so bad.
I mean, why would Nibomishi play this line? Like, you had so much bad experience in this opening.
Strange. Yeah?
And against Leko of all people, why would you?
Who's incredibly booked up in all this.
Especially here, yeah? And you're playing this with both colors.
I think they go rook e8. No, is this? Sorry, if this becomes too nerdy, we'll stop in a minute, but I'm just curious. Is this Carlsen-Giri line? Or am I mixing something up? I think it might have been this, but I'm very unsure about the h6-ness.
I mean, I haven't done serious work in months now. I mean, all of this is...
Okay, but maybe you saw the much publicized game Carlsen-Giri.
Much publicized? Where?
Chess24.com.
I gotta check it out.
Anyway, this d5 break is typical, and after ed in that game, I keep talking about e5 was played, a pawn sacrifice. But Leko takes, now h6 could be an issue, no? Is also accentuated by that move.
Well, I mean, this is the thing, yeah, queen on d6 is a horrible blocker, right? You don't block a pawn with a queen, and knight f5 seems nasty. But then it is, of course, always very concrete. He played rook e8, which seems normal. Knight f5, queen d7.
It feels like knight h6 or something.
Yeah, now Leko will start looking at these things. Like can we look at this? Like knight takes, h6 takes, rook g3 check.
I guess we have to cover this
You
pawn.
probably want to go king h7, bishop c2 check, and you probably want to go knight e4.
Yep.
And my attack now does not quite continue, right?
I don't see it.
Although f3 is a valid question, yeah, because okay, give me my knight back, yeah? Because if I just get the piece back, I will have some attack for sure, right?
Yeah.
Do you have options? Maybe rook c2 is your other option.
You mean just take this guy?
Take this
straight
guy,
away?
take, and king h8.
Just looks so scary. D6.
Yeah, this looks scary-ish, yeah. And I would assume that white probably has a draw in hand very often. So this looks like initiative. I mean, is there a better way to play it after knight h6?
Not sure. GH looks pretty forced, although you could argue the knight is trapped.
Yeah, but you probably will not find a better way to capture it. Yeah, you have to take and rook g3 and knight g4 is not a move. Other king moves are not really moves because I would be taking on h6. So yeah, probably king h7. Yeah, bishop c2 also leaves you very little choice. Yeah, it's either knight e4, rook c2. Seems like a relevant line. Poor Leko will burn so much time. Maybe it's knight e4, f3, and bishop takes d5. Maybe it's like this. How can it be bishop d5? It cannot be bishop d5. Maybe I will lose everything on this pin. No, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Yeah, I'm trying to see it, but I just don't see it. Yeah, by the way, when Nepo was on the show here yesterday, I just had to realize I haven't had much chess contact with him. And the guy is so unbelievably fast. Not just the way he plays, but also the way he sees the board, the way he calculates. It's just phenomenal, right?
Yeah. Like I always have mixed feelings. I think it makes the show very hard to watch because it's impossible for, I think, you and I to at least keep track and put the moves on the board. But it is very, very impressive just to see how many lines he spits out per second and how good these lines are. So
yeah,
it's just, yeah. From my perspective, as a good grandmaster, but far away from this level, I'm just amazed how giant the difference is, how much they see. Like some of these guys also, Vichy used to be like that when you just hear him speak and you think,
just half fast. Yeah, just half fast.
Anyway.
What do you think? Leko will take on h6, right?
I don't know. He will calculate now. He's out of book.
He's out of book, which means
probably means he knows Nepo did something wrong, no?
Yeah. So he will try to punish this. So he will take on h6.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure what other moves there could be. Rook f3 or something, but they look a little artificial.
Yeah, I mean it's of course easy to be attracted by something else too. Yeah, and he played rook
there
f3.
Goes rook f3. That's my boy. He likes to defend his pieces.
Also, I have a good feel for what Kramnik or Gelfand might do. Yeah, you know your Leko, right? Like rook f3. We didn't even mention this move before that. Yeah, nice. But still, what an awful line I think to play with black, right? Just so dangerous.
So scary, yeah.
So dangerous.
As mentioned, it helps if you can calculate 800 moves per second.
Yeah.
This is more like it. Gelfand Vichy playing a good old Catalan. But here comes Gelfand, pawn to h4. He's saying, I might be in my 50s, but I'm going with the times. The times are check h-pawn push in every legal position.
No, but like when I see h4 now, I just ask myself, why didn't we think of this before? Just looks so logical.
You didn't check it in every legal position yet?
Not yet, no. No, because I remember we spent a lot of time with Vichy looking at these lines in 2009 and 10 when preparing for Topalov. And we're looking with black at all sorts of variations, including knight d7 or c6 b6 or even like c6 a5, all sorts of movements on the queen side, but I never remember the white pawn coming to h4.
It's just a paradigm shift now in modern chess. So even then, even 10 years ago, at least I guess many people had this core belief, you play this h4. It's against the laws of chess. They will open up the center and things will go wrong.
Yeah. No, but also I think back then, if an engine would show us h4, would often just block it from our perception. Like, there was a certain just number of moves that we just censored.
Yeah, exactly.
And nothing good comes from censoring. Got to read 1984.
Food for thought. But yeah, h4 here. What happens if black just plays slowly? If I just play c6 like they often do, and b6, do you keep pushing?
I would assume so. Huh? That you push h5, you provoke h6, and then you go like Dubov style. You go knight c3, castle long, and try to kind of to do it, yeah. And then at some point g4, g5. I mean, I assume this must be the reason. Also, I mean, the position he got now, a few moves later, looks like absolutely fantastic for white.
That's always what amazes me. They play h4 and then they castle kingside some moves later and they just have a good position. Yeah, you're not burning that many bridges by pushing the pawn.
No, I actually recently I played a game against Magnus, and he was white. He played h4 very early on, and then he castled short, and we got this type of position. And whilst I had my misgivings about this pawn, Magnus, he kind of, in the post-mortem, he explained to me that he really likes this pawn. And it gives him space, it gives him luft for the king, and has some potential. He really liked this pawn. So maybe, yeah, as you said, yeah, it's a paradigm shift. It's just a good pawn. Yeah, we just need to learn to live with it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, here it is again. Dingiri. It's not the same game. It's the same pawn. And Ding, as you mentioned, he's been creative, trying to find ideas here. Early queen d3. I think your boy played queen b3 at some point. So
my boy being Fabi, yeah? Not everybody knows. Yeah.
People know. If they don't know, we should tell them. This gentleman is Grandmaster Rustam Kazimchanov, the 2004 FIDE World Champion, who's worked not just for world number 2, Fabiano Caruana, who played Magnus Carlsen in the last World Championship match. They drew, and then Fabiano lost the tiebreak. But he also worked for Vichy Anand in not 1, not 2, but 3 World Championship matches. And Rustam worked, most importantly, for the German national team in the year 2011, when we, the Germans, chess powerhouse, won the European Team Championship. So you have a good track record.
Yeah, but this one, I mean, the one you mentioned with the German team, that actually felt so sweet. This was,
I agree.
Like, nobody really expected this, or nobody could possibly expect this. But it was just such an amazing performance of the whole team, I thought. Like so sweet.
It was a bit like that new Ben Affleck movie, The Long Way Back, where an old, disillusioned, grumpy coach, beaten down by life, takes over a bunch of young, naive, sometimes at odds with each other,
I mean, if
kids, and leads them to the promised land.
If I didn't know any better, I would be sure somebody's paying you to say this. Like, it's the second time you bring up this movie.
I love that movie so much. I've watched it twice in very, very short succession. Anyway.
Ben Affleck has been in some good movies.
He's also been in a lot of bad movies.
Well, that may be true. I liked Argo. And
I like the catchphrase.
and Gone Girl, this was also Ben Affleck, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I like the Gone Girl too. Yeah.
I even read that book. It's a good book.
Me too. Me too. I read the book.
Shout out to Gillian Flynn if you're watching. I don't know what this position is. Isn't Vichy all over the place and Gelfand has the center and all the good stuff?
I mean, I think in a higher sense, Black is totally lost.
It looks horrible. No?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you're staring at-
Just the center is just so strong. Of course, I mean, things might still happen, but like for now, Vichy's play doesn't, I mean, just doesn't look too good.
Yeah, Anna in trouble. And we're getting the tip that we should check all the games. Thanks. Let's do that. And apologies with 5 rapid games running. Sometimes hard to check all of them.
Also, sometimes you don't want to check them because boy Peter, what happened to him here? How did he lose them? All his pawns.
This went wrong so quickly, no? D4 I'm already uncertain about. This is what you mentioned, yeah? Leela or whatever. Just strong players often, they will say, you can have that pawn, I'll go after your king. Whoa. It's a nice move, Bishop A6.
Yeah. But that's what also Grishuk said about some game yesterday. It's like old-fashioned opening catastrophe, right? That is like he didn't castle, he's getting hit all over the place, he's struggling to finish his development. Like you're not supposed to be having this against the world champion. Yeah? He will not let you back in the game normally.
He has to go queen b1. What happened? Takes, queen to e5.
Yeah.
So you can castle, but I will take another pawn of yours.
Yeah, he's now trying to castle artificially, as they say, yeah? Knight f3 and then king f1, king g2. It is a bit sad. Yeah? You're playing a world champion, you pawn down, and you're just trying to finish a development, and all this was white. This is not a success story yet. Although, as we saw, Svidler is not easy to beat.
No, he can be very resilient as long as he believes in it, but sometimes he also, well, he gets so upset with himself and his play that he just calls it a game. But I don't think we're there yet. He looks very focused.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if he does manage to finish his development, the pawn deficit, he'll probably be able to live with. So it is an important moment. Also, Magnus, strangely, does not look that inspired by this position. Why do you think this is?
I would say that's Magnus's typical facial expression. That could be anything. Like, just woke up, like this is trivial, calculating.
Just woke
I find
up.
that hard to read.
Still asleep.
He played rook e8, which also looked like a natural move, fighting against king g2. Does white go e3?
It is possible. e3 and then king g2 is hard to stop. I don't know if white should try to get clever here.
We should mention we have royalty, not only in the chat in the form of International Master Lawrence Trent, but also in the commentary booth, because fashionably early, Alexander Grishuk, world number 6, 3-time Blitz world champion, is joining us today. Sasha, how are you?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, because I will likely be busy later, so I decided I have to join earlier. So we have lots of interesting games. Peter, unfortunately, is not playing his best game. I don't know what have he done going out of the opening, but it's some kind of. I guess maybe now he has more or less a position, yeah, because it looked just terrible at some point.
Yeah, here it looked like resigns, but he's sort of hanging in there, maybe, no? right now.
Yeah, and so at least he brought his king into safety, unless maybe he will be pinned now, yeah?
Yeah, I think that's the plan. You have to go queen c6 and pin him so kind of forever, yeah, almost.
So maybe queen b5 is more or less has to be played, but he didn't play. What was wrong with it? Queen b5. I don't see a reason not to play it. Also, I think if black plays c4, it's very nice to have your queen on c5 with white, no? I don't get it. Why didn't he play it? Do you have a...
Yeah, now Magnus could have 2 pawns on the c file, like c4, c5, and queen c6 behind them, yeah? It could be like a very solid structure for black. And both of them passed pawns.
But I know in rook endgames, sometimes it's very nice to have your rook in between the double pawns. So maybe it's the case here that black doesn't really want to play c5, because then queen on c6 actually doesn't support this c4 pawn.
I know this rook, and then queen behind is good, this Alekhine gun, but this is Alekhine's water pistol.
Yeah, it's actually interesting, yeah? Like Magnus, at no point he seems to be interested in this pin, yeah? He had the chance to play queen c6 a couple of times, but he's just, yeah, just making other moves.
Yeah.
Sensible moves, no?
Well, what do you think? Exchange of rooks is favorable for black?
I think exchange everything, queen c pawn.
It's a plan, yeah.
Okay, I will even check what was wrong with queen b5, because I don't know, I'm just very much surprised. So let's see. So queen c2, yeah, queen c2 is a very bad move, and queen b5 is almost an equality according to the
Yeah, I think that's something that Sasha was teaching us yesterday, right? Like queen b5 and then queen c5. This queen is annoying there, right? Like this queen that takes a pawn somewhere on b2, this kind of a queen, right?
I think it's a bit different situation, but okay. And Anish, he's going for sacrifices, I guess. I guess if f4, he will what? Just play rook take e5 or something else.
You tell us. Looks nice.
Maybe like d3 and try to push them, no?
Aesthetically very pleasing, no?
Also, black can play d3, c4 and just play for very long-term compensation. I kind of like this for black.
How did we get here? Looked like a standard position, then we got the usual h4, although here it's maybe a bit of a defensive move against g5 as well, no? Ding, complicated matters with d takes c5.
Well, this is one thing I noticed about Ding Liren. He loves material. Like really, really likes it, to take a pawn which looks a bit shady, to take an exchange which looks anti-positional, and someone really believes in material.
Because we're living in a material world, and I am a material ding.
That sounds about right, yes.
So he did take a hot pawn.
Yeah, Anish plays this game with a lot of spirit, I have to say.
Is this time correct with Ding having, it cannot be right, and with Ding having 20 seconds.